But remember that the networking component is a two-way street. Some of my hires have come from just meeting people that had a need. They weren't looking for a job, and I didn't have a job to fill, but stayed in touch. And 3 years later, next thing you know,
Hello! This is CPA Career Path Podcast with Rosey Flaherty, CPA MSA, where we dive into thrilling journeys in the world of accounting.
So after you work at the lawyer firm for about 7 years and 6 months, you decide to go out and do your own. It seems like you start some before that as well. Papin Insurance LLC seems like you start at the same time that you working at the lawyer firm. And then after that, you start your law firm and then CPA firm. And also the thought leader and presenter and consultant at Thomson Reuters. Oh my God, you're doing so much. And what made you decide to jump out and start your own?
So there's probably two elements that really drove me forward. The first was wanting to do things with my family. You've heard me mention that mom and dad were entrepreneurs. They owned office space and buildings. My brother is an accountant by trade. He has an accounting and finance degree. He operates our family's business. When my dad passed, he took over. But there's a passion to kind of bring that back together so I could be all in one spot. And today we all office 100 yards from one another. So mom's here, my brother's here. There's a weird. They always say don't do business with family. I will be your exception. You can do business with family. Got to have some tough conversations with family, but it's important. So there was kind of this family-driven push, and the beauty is the firm I was with, I could tell the whole story to, and we shook hands and still collaborate and send work back and forth today. So it was a respectful parting of ways, if you will, but we were able to develop and have different conversations as separate as we evolved. Now, of course, I didn't know what my firms would necessarily turn into. I had an idea, but most are wise enough to realize that sometimes the path is a little foggy and there's going to be ups and downs and bumps along the way. But I embraced kind of this advisory side role. And the insurance company is kind of, just extra. We do some insurance policies for lending and estate planning and things like that. I started that because we didn't have that resource at the other firm. And then over the years, it's just kind of followed me along. So it's not like I'm a true free business operator all day, every day type thing. But the way we approach it and the all-inclusive approach, we were relatively successful in growing our business, which is kind of what led to the partnership with Thomson Reuters. In particular, inside of their tax and accounting group, I was asked to participate at different events that they host, and then over the years present at different events and also help them consult with other tax and accounting firms that are hoping to do things in a similar way. So there's kind of some proof in concept in there that we were unique in the way we developed ourselves out, and are blessed and lucky enough to be able to share that with others throughout the United States and continue to do so today.
So it seems like maybe you will have a lot of family support when you do your business. So if you correct me if I'm wrong, but you may face less challenge than people who just go out there, do their own without family support. Now, when I talk about family support, it's not like they disagree with you. I'm talking about like they have like background, they have experience to support you in this journey. Is that true?
It is. The best analogy I have for this is like if you have a parent who is a chef, or you've got a parent who is an athlete, they're familiar with those things. As a child, you get to observe those things. So sometimes you take for granted that you know a few things differently than others would. And yes, there is a unique advantage there. Mom and dad were very successful in the community and, leveraging their name. That's why the firms are named the way they are, is because people recognize who my parents were. So I want them to know who I am too. It's, I think that's an important factor that's in there. Whereas, if somebody moved from Texas to New York and didn't have that infrastructure and just was setting up shop, you can do it too. But it's going to be a different conversation because it's a different set of resources. But again, that's where I go back and say I was blessed and lucky enough to have a unique set of resources available to me and took the leap. And it's something that I'm grateful that I did. Wouldn't have done it differently otherwise. People tease me all the time. Why didn't you just go straight to that? I was like, I don't think I was ready. Nor would I have met all the wonderful people and made the friends and relationships that I did over the years. So everybody's got their own path, but you don't need that set of resources. I mean, you could graduate from school, pass your credentialing, and go to work, especially in today's remote virtual environment. You can work out of your, office in your bedroom. So there's lots of ways to achieve the goals that maybe are in front of you. I don't know may I ask you a question in all of this?
Yeah, sure.
Did you have a set of resources around you, whether it was like a peer network group or other professionals or friends maybe, to help as you've gone through and done different paths of your business? Like, when you were worried one day or didn't know who to talk to, where did those resources come from?
Yeah, I am not extreme, but I'm very involved with the state societies. And so state societies provide a lot of resources for like networking event, make a relationship with people from networking events, and also like join as a like board of directors, and also being involved in different volunteering activities. And from those activities, I meet with other CPAs, and then eventually they may become my mentors. I may not have one, I may have 2 or 3 mentors in a different time or different career stage in my life. And all those people coming in from all the networking events, it just helped me significantly when I said, I'm lost, I need some advice. I'm not sure if I should go this way or I should go another way. And because I don't know what I don't know, or I did not know what I did not know, I couldn't see the big picture. But someone who I already went through, they could see a bigger picture and give me a lot of great advice. So that's my own experience. But what would you advise to young professionals?
I'm right with you. I think the power of networking is something that you can only recognize after the fact, because you don't know who's going to be the resource that you need, this unique thing. And you go, oh yeah, I remember meeting this lady. She said she was in that area. Let me call and get some, you just never know. If you could predict the future, maybe you'd know live on the spot. But I'm also a big advocate with you about your state societies, your professional organizations. They provide a set of resources differently than paid consulting or working with other firms or networking groups, because their sole purpose is to support you in your CPA community. And,
Exactly.
I often overlooked. I'm incredibly proud of the Oklahoma Society and Blaine Peterson and the efforts that he puts into making our CPA community better, because he's always out and he's a wonderful face. And I know he has tons of peers across the 50 states and even subsets of societies that he works with. And every day they're trying to figure out ways to allow us, the professionals, to have a different set of resources, have information to serve our clients and our community in a different way. And, sometimes I think people forget the community element. I asked the question because I suspected you'd give me something in this area. So thank you for the element there. But I want to leverage community with you a little bit, because for me, one of the pillars of the firm is that when we're seeking new clients, we want clients that are beyond just profit motive. They want to make lives better for their family, for their community, for an educational institute, whatever it may be. It's business plus is kind of the way to think about it. And I suspect that some of your best and brightest clients have some of the same traits, do they not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of time the firm I'm working with, they have any events. We actually invite the client to join the event with us as well. along with like other people at the firm and the community as well. And also people, leaders at the firm also encourage staff to, or like managers or like people at the firm to go out and join the community service. We have the community service month. It is in May, but actually I'm going to do one soon in a couple of weeks. That go out there, support the community as well, be a part of the community. I absolutely agree with that. I want to add one more thing beside the state society. I forgot to mention that AI CPA also is a great resources as well. And I'm also a committee for the state, for the AICPA as well. So there are a lot of ways to involve in the community. And for me to build a network, Chris, I'm talking to you today. I'm actually building the connection with you. For me to be on this podcast is actually I'm able to connect with a lot of amazing CPAs, understand about their CPA journeys. And if I have any questions, any issues, I feel like I only have an hour in the podcast. It means like I have an hour interview with each of my guests. I was like, this guest is good. I can ask about this question. That guest will can ask another question. So I categorize my guest list and then put them in different pockets and say, okay, if I have any issues, I know they will be there to give me any advice if I need.
And what's interesting is probably the most important thing we said all day. You just said, that your guests would help you. Not, I think, it. And outsiders might think we're competitors. But the reality is we're not. We're on the same team. There's plenty of work and plenty of clients to serve. So advancing the cause and helping everyone. COVID is either a bad word for some people or a good word for some people, but it was a beautiful example of the financial community as a whole, banks, CPAs, financial advisors, like everybody came together to figure stuff out to keep people in business. So I think folks need to keep that in mind because, we're on the same team at the end of the day.
Exactly. We're all on the same team. And a lot of time we like to get referrals from one CPA to another CPA firm.
You bet.
And so it's not just like, you want to take my client, I would never talk to you. No, a lot of time that, hey, I have this client, it seems to fit your niche, fit your CPA, fit your firm. I think I already refer you to this client to you, so he or she will reach out to you shortly. Hey, that's awesome that all of a sudden you have connections, you have the clients, the referral as well. And I know a lot of times clients, they love referrals. They don't want to go out there and randomly pick a CPA firm. They love it to hear from someone else say that, oh, this firm is great. You should go with them. So that's something that I agree with you, like to just echo what you just mentioned about, like we are in one team. So if you see CPAs out there, we love to see you success and succeed, and also we also support you as much as we can as well.
And I would speak to the youngest of the audience on this. Sometimes in school, the networking element is different than in real life. But remember that the networking component is a two-way street. Some of my hires have come from just meeting people that had a need. They weren't looking for a job, and I didn't have a job to fill, but stayed in touch. And 3 years later, next thing you know, hey, guess what's going on? So there's some power inside of that networking community. And I love your idea of this podcast because you get to meet all kinds of interesting people and talk about different stories. And I mean, your Rolodex has got to be amazing.
I love this podcast. It's just amazing. And also I love talking to people, listening to people's stories, and also communicate or discussing all about the hot topics and about this industry. So this is like my happy spot here. Chris, I know you have a lot of business on your side, but I think one topic that I really want to ask is that working with family. You mentioned about this, that a lot of people struggle with working with family. Even myself have a lot of issues working with my mom. She has her own business and try to help her, and she's amazing. I love her, but we couldn't work together. We could not. And so you work with your mom, work with your brother as well. I'm wondering if you can share like one or two stories, like one is successful story, you work with them, One is like not successful story that you, when you work with them, that you need to, and what the solution for that unsuccessful story.
So I'll probably start with my mom is in mental health. So there's an element there that I absolutely take for granted. But as a child, she would hand me what I'm going to call happy face charts, which perhaps are now known as emojis. So kind of the running joke is she was into emojis before they were cool. But in that, there's a ton of discipline and skill set, and the majority of conversations you have with clients are emotionally driven. Money and emotion are directly connected, and if you think otherwise, you're nuts. So in that, there's this amazing skill set that I, again, get to take for granted because I grew up with it, but it's a set of tools that allows us to succeed. So my brother's able to use it in the things that he does. I'm able to use it. Mom is still kind of in her retirement gig as being a part-time counselor instead of a full-time counselor. But I think that success story there is there are spillover disciplines, especially generational disciplines. Sometimes I have to ask her for advice for our more senior clients who are struggling with technology, which happens to be a pretty good transition for some of the things we struggle with together, because it's typically around misunderstandings, if you will, of technology or system software. The one that comes to mind most recently is right now to report continuing education in the state of Oklahoma. You log into a portal, you upload certain items, in our world, that's something we do all day, every day. For my mom, that's not something she did until the later years of her career. So offering support and help in that arena for some, no problem. Yeah, I'll help you. And where I don't want to paint this picture in the wrong way, because my mom and I love each other dearly, but I speak super tech and she does not at all. So sometimes when I'm asking questions to gain clarity about how to help her, it's not perceived in the same way. Or vice versa, I'm asking a question that in theory I should already know because she answered it in her way, but I didn't hear it right. So those are the things where maybe because if I were working with a neutral third party, I not that I care about someone less, but it's your family. You care about them the most. You've got the most to lose from goofing up, uploading the whatevers. So because you love them the most, you care the most about the conversation. And then, of course, the conversation is the most inflammatory conversation. So I think navigating some of that stuff is difficult, but communication, I mean, we've talked about it all the way through this, is key. And what's the objective? Can you help me get through? Can I ask a few questions because I still don't understand what I'm supposed to do to help you get to the objective? That's all that it is. Sometimes we have to hit pause and pick it up another day because we're speaking two different languages, but that's okay. We found ways to work our way through it. And I think that's the key to success in family-owned businesses and small businesses. I won't bore everybody with the statistics on this, but go Google them or ask Chad or somebody, give me the statistics of family-owned businesses. For it to go to a second generation is a statistical anomaly. It just isn't successful most of the time. For a third is a third standard deviation kind of anomaly. It's rare that businesses will go 3 generations. So why? Most of the time it has to do with communication, work ethic, skill sets that are involved. But investing the time to not only have that conversation, but then go home and have the family conversation is a lot. And sometimes people don't have the resources to do that.
Yeah. It's amazing how you can separate business communication and family communication. A lot of people may not be able to do that.
I'm no expert. I still fail every day about it. But we recognize that sometimes you got to turn those switches on and off. And I think we do better than most. But time will tell.
Time will tell. Yeah, I agree. Chris, I'm just curious. You are a CPA, you are a lawyer as well, but I don't see the destination after your name. Is there a reason why you don't want to put them after your names? Yeah, I'm just curious.
It has everything to do with credentialing. So as a lawyer, I cannot sign as a CPA. So if I sign something in my CPA firm, I can only sign as a CPA. I cannot be a lawyer as well because of the way the state behaves. The entities kind of drive that. So I've chosen just to be me, business owner. And then if you engage the law firm, I'll sign as an attorney. If you engage the CPA firm, it's not a fun answer. It's not a sexy answer, but it's the reality of compliance. I have to be very mindful as to how I hold myself out and in what arena. And it's just easier not to get mixed up if you don't put JD CPA or something like that on the credentialing.
Interesting. Wow. That's not the answer I would expect, but I learned something.
I know, right?
We talk a lot about your career, your journey, your family business, your just advisor career. I'm just curious, like beside of all that work related, what do you do for fun, or what do you normally do for fun?
So I've got 3 things that I insert here. I am married. I have a wife who is willing to run marathons. I am a former soccer player who is not willing to run marathons. So usually there's athletic activities and things like that Julie and I are able to engage in together. Yoga is kind of the one that, again, terrible dad joke, but what's the commonality between yoga and accounting? Everything must be in balance. There's a yin and a yang, and there's a debit and a credit, right?
That's so true.
So there's, for me, the elements of getting outside of the office, the work-life balance is key. And some of that is engaging in athletic events. We have a German Shepherd named Jade, and she helps us. Like, she will literally close my laptop or knock my phone out with her nose and say, "Dad, it's not work time." So she helps with that too. And then the passion project is I have coached for now 24 years a middle school soccer team. I do not have any children on the soccer team. It's just something that I enjoy. I'm a soccer coach. I played growing up, and it happens during the worst time of year, the spring. But you cannot be on the field with 12 to 14-year-old boys and girls without focusing on them, which is a great mental break. And I get to do something that I enjoy. So there's a give back to the community. There is a mentorship that's there. There's a passion about the sport. So those are kind of the 3 things that I try to focus on and, try to have a balance with all of it. Sometimes it gets out of control, but it's fun.
Awesome. We have a dog as well. She's a mix of husky and lab. So she's not 100% as husky, but she has husky in her blood. Oh my God. She loves jumping over the fence and explore neighbor's backyard. And I was like, oh, you're such a troublemaker. But she can talk. I know your husky can talk a lot. She can talk and talk the whole night.
Yeah, we're working through some of those. Our dog is vocal, is the way we'll say it. She's here today. You haven't heard her in the background or anything. She's great during the day, but when it's her time, she turns on.
Wow. I believe you heard my dog sometimes during the conversation. Yeah, whenever. So she loves watching through the window, and then if she sees any dogs walk by, she will be like, "Hey, I'm here!" and make the noise and barking. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm in the meeting. Come on!" But thank you so much, Chris, for the discussion today. It's amazing story to know that you a CPA, also a lawyer, and experience with a family business, small business as well. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time on our podcast.
I really appreciate the opportunity. And to listeners, you've heard us talk about networking. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's a beautiful way for a lot of people to get to know each other that would not otherwise get to know each other. Just search for my name. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here and share the stories. And thank you for doing what you're doing for the profession.
Thank you, Chris.